2025 at 10 a.m. Roll call in order. We have a quorum. Mayor Rock is on vacation, so I am the Mayor Pro Tem today to get through this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion we approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved and approved. Discussion items. Okay. Trevor, administration update.
All right, so just talking about some of the projects we're doing right now. If everyone probably got phone calls and stuff, but we're doing the swell on Vista West there. I think there'd be some questions on that, but that was approved a couple years ago before I started. We didn't, I think it was around $40,000 was budgeted last year, and that came in around 77, so we couldn't do it last year. And a lot of things came together. We have the dirt on 50 White Pine. It's been kind of an eyesore and a little bit of contention there between local buildings, Avail, and the town. But they both released that and said, would the town like that? And it fit right into doing that project. So we had a week, and it all came together where we were removing that pit run road base there to pack the pipe down. But that's in. It should be done by tomorrow completely. Just to address any of the concerns there, it's not going to create any extra drainage. There's no threat to the golf course. If you got any of those calls, they were all just based on rumor. This has been discussed multiple times, and I discussed it with a member of the HOA last week, and that just kind of took on a life of its own there. But we'll probably end up, it came in about $100,000 this year to have it bid out, and we're going to get that done for roughly just under $25,000, and that's mainly an equipment rental. We had to rent a bulldozer and another roller to pack it down, and some trucks to haul the material in and out. So that's kind of our big project for the week. Does anybody have any questions on that one? All right. So our water meter project, purchasing water meters, is a little bit on hold right now, partly because we weren't planning on doing chip seal and pavement in-house. And another reason is because the company we were working with suggested we wait because they're combining cell services now. So if we were to purchase the meters today, we'd have to either pick AT&T or Verizon. But if in in December, they'll have those combined to where it, whatever's the strongest signal will just be used by whatever meter, depending on the location. So their suggestion was just wait a couple months, and we will need to put that out to public bid, and our engineers working on drafting up that. We had a little bit of an argument on do you need to or not, and we're just going to do it to make sure that we don't have a problem there. Scott, our building official, is also looking at a Fluke meter. Fluke's the company that'll be able to test our large water meters that are coming off the spring and the wells. Those haven't been calibrated in a long time, but looking at that, we couldn't get anybody to come in to calibrate those. They wanted us to take them out. We had a company that said they would, and then looking at our meters, they said that it's basically not profitable for them to travel and do it because we're too small. Scott's run this type of equipment. It'll be between $8,000 and $10,000 to purchase, and then we can calibrate them as needed. And our Prater delivery line project is the next big thing for the water system. This is still probably a couple of years out, but we're taking steps to get ready for that. And what we've done is we've authorized Ryan Welling, our engineer, to have that surveyed so he can start developing the project. So that's just going to start now. And if you notice, Joan Simpkins is here doing our annual audit. They'll be here through probably Thursday at noon. And the audit will be available for the council to look at in October, and they'll present it in the November council meeting. So that's what I have. There's a couple other things we might talk about that are on the agenda, so I'll wait for that. But any questions about anything there?
Any questions for Trevor?
No, on the Prater delivery line, other than spending this year do you see that? I mean, we authorized 400,000 of the 1.2 million, but do we see that being just a smaller amount?
So my guess there is, given the trade and everything, I'm
Yeah.
guessing 10,000 under for the survey.
For now and then, okay.
And I don't know, Ryan will bill us as he develops the plan, but that'll be pretty minimal for the project, so.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Financials.
Yeah, so in Loretta's absence, I'll go ahead. I put together the email for everyone to be able to see how our reporting would kind of shape together based on our new budget. I wouldn't attempt to think that I know everybody's questions on how to read it or see it, but I hope that as you look at it, if there's the detail, every line item detail behind the summary sheet, but the summary sheet kind of gives you the general fund revenue, the general fund expenses, and then capital for general fund, and then it goes through and goes through the same thing for water. A couple of highlights for the month were that, well, which we were waiting to see, the fifth penny revenue and the sales tax revenue were both down 20% plus. So with that shortfall, we'll wait and see if it's going to continue. But overall, if you took that, we were about 25,000. What were we? We were $15,000 down in general fund in revenue, and on the water side, we were up due to the tap ons. So net, we were only down maybe $10,000 total for revenue, but spending, we were favorable in general and unfavorable in water. And the water was basically because we paid 2 loans early. So we're very, very close to where we should be on the expenses. And, but the good news is, well, good news if you call it that, we underspent what we thought we would in capital. So our capital expenses were well below what we had budgeted for the month. It's probably going to be catch up as we move through some of these projects. Some will move to next spring rather than this fall. But net, the best part is cash balances are $226,000 better than what we had forecast in the budget through, July. And we'll do this, and we also I'm comparing it to last year so that we kind of we can look and see where the variances were from last year as well. But with that, are there any questions? Is there anything specific items that people want to understand a little closer? I want to be able to give you the information that would be helpful in, helping us understand and identify any discrepancies or differences to the budget. Any? Clear as mud, right? But again, it's all there, but if you do have a question, we can take it offline. You can always ask me later as well. But moving forward, first one. The good news was those taps. We had $15,000 extra in tap-ons on the water side. So that was good to see. All right. No questions. That's all I have.
Nice job. Sunrise Mountain Estates Fire Hydrant.
Thank you very much for having us back. I think last time we had a really good discussion about our proximity to fire hydrants and the need for our subdivision to have, in case of fire, to have drop tanks dropped and then a truck shuttle water back and forth. The only other thing I wanted to add was that when our subdivision was put in, the developers, they put the water system in the 4-inch lines up into the cul-de-sac that were required, by the city. And at that time, that was to be appropriate with the city's new water system. The developers were under the impression that when we were tied into the new 8-inch line down Hardman, we would be given a fire hydrant. And that didn't happen. So that's where we are. And I want to thank you for your consideration on this matter. And then I would ask, do you have anything to say, Mr. Cow? This is Doug Fout.
Oh, well, my position is actually very personal. It's about 2 city blocks to the nearest fire pump. So I'd like a little closer. We had a fire out there before and there was no water available. And so we're hoping maybe the next fire doesn't happen in a long time. But there's something a little closer.
Have you both seen the letter from the fire chief?
I'm sorry?
Have you both seen the letter from Mid-Valley Fire Chief?
He's on one side of the road and I'm on the other side.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
We checked with Mid-Valley Fire Department and had the fire chief come up and look at it, and he gave us a letter. Have you guys seen that?
No, sir.
So he didn't actually give a letter, I just summarized what
Okay.
our conversation was, but, in talking to Chief Jenkins, there is a 4-inch blow off out there, right at the base of that new driveway going in. And he feels like that would, you can get water out of that. Again, it's a 4-inch line, so it won't fight a forest fire, but he feels it would be sufficient for any kind of a house fire there, to keep the trucks filled. And you know, we already talked about there's a fire hydrant in the Star Circle and one on Hardman. And he feels like those would be close enough if they have multiple trucks to keep them running back and forth and there wouldn't be a lapse in water. So his suggestion was the insurance companies look at 1,000 feet typically, but that's more for a city. And I called State Farm and they said if they look at it differently in Wyoming. If you're within 10 miles of a fire station, that's what gives you the break in insurance. And I just used a rangefinder. The fire hydrant on Hardman, you know, as the crow flies, is 771 feet from your house, Mr. Fowl. But it's a straight shot across the golf course there. And then the one at Star Circle is 447 feet from the entrance to the subdivision there. And the house that I could tell that's farthest from the fire hydrant is 1911 Hardman, that's kind of back there.
Mr. Childs.
Yeah, and he's right around just over 1,100 feet from the closest hydrant. So, Chief Jenkins didn't think it was necessary right now to put it in there, but that's just information that, in our conversation, so.
Okay, well, I guess then the only other thing would be, in case of a fire that was affecting us up there, would be access to that 4-inch outlet. And I understand, I understand that there's a lot of things that go on when there's fires, a lot of shuttling. But if this matter could be considered, I think it would be helpful, to us for the future. And it could also be helpful to other people who live down there below us, depending on what a fire might look like. And I never want to see one. So, well, thank you for your consideration, and we'll just all move forward.
I have some questions.
Thank you.
What was the drop tank you were mentioning?
The fire, our UPS driver, Justin, just happens to be on the fire department.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation a while back, and he said that in our situation, the first thing they would do would be there's water that comes with the fire pump. And the next thing they would do is they would drop, they call them drop tanks, on the ground, probably quite close to that pump truck. And then they have a truck that has a tank on it, maybe more than one truck, that would be shuttling back and forth to fire hydrants. They'd fill up, come and offload the water.
From the drop tank?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, did you had mentioned there was a fire up there previously then? And I don't think I'm aware of that, but in your guys' subdivision, or?
I'm sorry.
You
my
mentioned a
hearing is
fire?
awful.
So there was a fire up there, you said previously, or you had mentioned a house
Previous
fire?
fire was
Yes,
put out
and
by a water brigade.
Oh, And how long ago was that?
That was a year ago, this July the 21st, when.
Oh, okay, in the summer, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So, that was something that should have never happened. That was a neighbor who is immune to all ordinances and rules, decided he'd clear his lot and burn everything on the spot. So,
Faster if you throw gas on it.
Oh, I bet.
I can't go back there because he has a no trespassing order against me now. Because I gave him my complete and total opinion of his intelligence and decision-making prowess. So, anyway, my friend Trevor was involved in that one.
I recall now.
I have a lot of people on there for the last 6 hours.
Oh, okay.
A for sale sign went up on his lot 2 days later, and he wants 3 times more than it's worth, so it's still for sale. Well, I want to thank you and appreciate your any and all attention to this.
Yes, please.
Hey, information for the town council, it's my understanding the fire hydrant would cost about $14,000.
Probably, yeah, if we do all the work ourselves, just the parts, so not counting labor and equipment use, it would be right around 15. So if we put that out to bid, you could expect that to probably be double.
So what's involved in getting access to that 4-inch line? Is it, I mean,
The 4-inch line has a blow off right there, they
Okay.
just open it up.
hook it on, yeah, that's all they'd have to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
to put a hydrant in, we come off the 8-inch line, we have to dig and,
Yeah.
put a hydrant. Hydrant is probably $5,000 to $7,000, depending on where you get it, so. Little costlier than I thought it would be, but.
Well, certainly it would have been, if it was going to be done, it would have been done when we tied into this Hardman line.
Yeah.
So, well, again, I thank you very much.
Yes, we do, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Draft community objectives for the 2025 master plan update. I believe those were sent out. Is there any comments on those at this point?
Nope, I don't have any.
Okay. I'm sure that will come up again at some point in the future. The travel and tourism grant recommendation. Katie, do you want to update people on that?
Sure. The Travel and Tourism Board received a grant for $100 for a blessing box to be put down in the mail center. After further kind of reviewing with what the lodging tax purpose is, the Travel and Tourism Board decided this is not really good use of money for what our tax dollars are going for, simply because it doesn't help promote travel and tourism. It's helping our own our community. It's not that we don't want it to be a part of our community, it just did not fall within the guidelines. So Frank Bell's summarized basically saying it just doesn't fit kind of what the travel and tourism's grant application should be.
Okay.
So he's requesting that we of course have the option to override that, but they said a no-go. They gave a no-go.
That will be on the agenda for tonight, so are there any questions for anybody?
I think the, director of the 501c said something about it may have been denied because they're trying to put a zip code to us and have like a mail center down there. But I mean, that's been trying to be done for like 3 years, so I just wasn't sure. I mean, that's what she was told by the staff at some point. And I didn't know if there was a way that they could reword it, or else, we can start giving the grants is what I'm looking for, so I don't know if they can be advised to like reword it so that it can be recommended.
I just don't think that's the correct use of travel and tourism dollars. It doesn't fit within our lodging tax funds. Like, it's not promoting travel and tourism at all.
I mean, it's an accommodation to the tourists as well. I don't know. if there's just another way.
I mean,
Fine.
like we said, the group was not opposed to the idea, it was just not given this, and then we have a couple people that, on that board that have dealt with these before, and the burden is now put on the administration or whoever's keeping the mail center clean, because Frank has had experience with this, where it just gets overrun and nobody's keeping track of it, and we were just like, you know, maybe, we suggest maybe going to talk to the HOA and like seeing if there's, where their library is, having something there.
Something there.
Yeah, but,
Is it something where the grant process, is it actually helping or is it hindering, delegating the money, do you think? I didn't know if like, when Loretta spoke, I think I spoke to you too, about the stipend is being better, or like, you know, certain payments out. I just feel like that money's been sitting there a bit, and I didn't know if it's because people are just not aware of the grant, or if maybe the grant process isn't the way to get that money delegated.
I think educating people and I know that that's kind of something that Travel and Tourism Board is looking at, is like trying to educate people on what we're looking for and what we can give money out to. I mean, there's a lot of guidelines that we have to follow in order to give that money to anybody, so it can't just be something off the cuff, like we have to have something that's actually promoting travel and tourism. The grant application that came from the Rendezvous Market is completely different, because you're a town council member.
Yeah.
So if it had been somebody in the community that was asking for that money, we probably would have looked at that differently.
Yeah, I think though, it's like, that's kind of the only, because I know our community seems to not want a lot of tourism, so it's kind of hard to promote, so I'm just trying to find a way, because that money needs to be spent eventually.
Yeah.
It's not doing anybody any favors just sitting there. So besides even the market, I just didn't know if there was any other avenues, and if they're advertising the grant, like maybe that'll help. I just was like concerned that it's not getting many hits, especially when it has money there, the funds there. And then also, do they have to be within city limits, or does the project just have to be within city limits? Like, can it be for?
I think we put something within 10 miles of Star Valley Ranch on it.
Oh, okay.
So like Friends of the Bridger, Teton, which we've donated to,
Through the NRD, I
that's,
think.
yeah, that's outside the city limits.
Well, we gave them
but
a
it's
grant
within
as
Oh,
Travel
well.
tourism
that was
did.
That was
Yes.
one of the grants
It's
for
within
travel
that.
tourism.
Mileage stipulation.
And there's some like, the 250th birthday, we're trying to kind of get it together, like with celebrations and trying to figure out how we can spend that money has taken us all a long time to really understand. And then it's people coming to us that have ideas. I mean, events are the best thing that can happen. So reviving Halloween so that the HOA can't do it anymore. So those kinds of ideas are coming up. We just now need people to want to come forward and do something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, just an update for the council. Senator Brazos has sent a letter to the US Postal Service requesting that we have a zip code for the town. Let's try to find the email on it, but it was in the last month.
Yeah,
I think it was in the last week and a half.
because I thought Doc Center also sent something like over a year ago.
Mayor Rock was working on it last week, and I saw the email too, but he put it in, the House, the representative passed a bill, we weren't in there, and she kind of raised the question along with, Evansville, Wyoming, and Brasso put in the Senate version of Star Valley Ranch in Evansville, so I don't know what's gonna happen there, but it was put in. So, we're trying to make that happen, but it's been years in the process already, so.
So it's gonna be years in the completion?
Yeah,
Or is this one of those that's gonna happen before I die?
sure hope so, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions on that? Okay, America 250 Grant and Town Commons. Is that you, Trevor, or
Working on some stuff
somebody
there.
else?
So, I'm working on 3 different grants that are all kind of loosely related, and the bulk of the information there's done when we tried to do a T-Mobile grant for the upgrade of the fire station. We have all the information we would need for this. The tricky part here is that there's a $25,000 grant that's due December 31st, I think, and we have to tie whatever we do with this park to the 250th anniversary of the country. So it gets a little tricky there in the idea. We were looking at the amphitheater idea. We've got some pricing on moving in large stones and what we could do, and putting kind of like a kiosk where you scan with your phone and you can get information on this or that. So that's what we're working on. It's slow going, but also reapplying for the T-Mobile grant, and there's another small one out there. The T-Mobile was $50,000. That was competitive, but that's what we're working on right now. The concern though is the way that park was designed. We have a well house there and a generator, and that amphitheater kind of sits right on the drainage pipe for the well house there. So I don't know if we want to consider moving that. We also built a temporary road we could make more permanent there on the east side as part of the project to haul fuel in and out. But it makes more sense. It was Councilman Ennis's suggestion that we put a road on that side, because if you have a big road right here where you go in and out, it takes up a lot of space, and you got a big dirt road in the middle of your park, it's kind of ugly. So, if you have any suggestions on how to tie this into the 250th anniversary of the country? That's the tricky part, to make that make sense on paper.
Is that a grant that you're, and that's why it has to tie in?
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Okay. When is that one?
December 31st, I believe.
Okay. And do you know how long it will take to get back about that one?
I already have on good authority that there's been a few grants that have been submitted, and the chairperson for the grant, I discussed with him, and he said if you submit one, I'll make sure it gets through as long as it meets the, but he can't guarantee that, but he said there's been so few grants, they're all probably gonna go through.
Is it a federal grant or is it state?
It's through the state. I think there's federal funds, but there's a different one that runs through the county, but there's actually 2 competing grants. You can only apply for one, but we're looking at one that goes through the state.
Okay.
So
And that's the one for 50,000?
25,000.
Oh,
So it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to the park here. I don't know if there's something we can do at the 40 acres to be a land property. It's a little trickier there, but we're really trying to make that amphitheater idea kind of materialize. So, suggestions on that?
no.
Any comments from council? Okay,
I guess is there somewhere, do we have the grant so we know what they're looking for? Or do you have ideas of like,
Yeah.
like is there a guidelines?
Brainstorming,
Right,
just
yeah.
ask ChatGPT and see
No,
what,
yeah.
you know.
It's very broad, and all you really need, it can be anything. It just needs to be tied to the 250th anniversary.
So we could do a walking path along the side of the road and with ribbons, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, their suggestion was using local artists to do murals. I think that's kind of what Thane's doing. So I've tried to talk some people in the area to see if they're interested, but $25,000 doesn't go a long ways for a park, but we don't want to just leave that money out there if it's available either. So tying it in is just harder than you would think when you start trying to write it down and have it make sense.
okay, anything else? Okay, moving on then to the board reports. Finance Advisory Board?
Yeah, the Finance Advisory Board met on Thursday, July 24th here at Town Hall. Some of the things, topics that were discussed was rates, and we received a report from Robert Casaselli with Peak Investments, and his takeaways on the rates. They will be going down if the Fed lowers interest rates, but right now, we're earning about 4.25% on average on all of our cash. And so, we're in a good place, but again, those are gonna change as we see rates come down. We also discussed the process for ensuring excess funds are held at the wild class level and how to move those, and Loretta is doing a great job moving those on a monthly basis where we have excess funds. The other piece is new business that we covered was annexation. The FAB has undertaken the assignment of, we'll say, taking multiple sources of data from an annexation checklist and putting it together for us to be able to have for considerations when these things come up. What is important, what are the pros and cons of each, and then identify, potential costs associated with certain items. So we've actually received several annexation reports already, one from Evanston, one from town in Arizona, and one from the state. So we're gathering the information. So those were the things we discussed and talked through. We also discussed, lastly, the policy that we've been discussing for, we'll call it contingency or excess capital funds. Approval process, and the FAB was very interested in being able to take a look at that policy before we get it approved. I said when we get the draft done, we'll forward it to them. But they gave us a bunch of inputs on what we should be thinking about there as well. So that was it.
Okay. Questions? Finance? Okay, the Natural Resources Board has not met. Its next meeting is scheduled for the 21st of this month. However, Greg Adler has been active. Since the garage sale, he has now sold another $1,020 worth of material. So they're moving right along. Okay, Planning Commission. I have no idea. I'll set this meeting tomorrow. And I can tell you what the agenda for it is, but that's about all I can do. Planning Commission, the agenda is a lot. There's a setback issue on a lot that they're going to be looking at. They've got a rezoning request for the Star Valley Ranch amended plats, and the discussion items are update on comments submitted on Lincoln County Star Valley Ranch Community Overlay, Town of Star Valley Ranch Master Plan Update, drafts survey questions. They're going to go ahead and put a survey out to when we update the master plan, and variance process discussion, since our variance process is kind of outdated.
Councilman Ellis,
Yes.
There was nothing from our last planning commission meeting to pass forward to your attention at this point.
Well, thank you.
Everything was put for further consideration next meeting.
Okay, I appreciate the update, because I didn't get the update, but I got to share it tomorrow, so I thought I'd tell you what was on it.
It was pretty smooth.
Good. Okay, Roads Advisory Committee.
Yep, so we did have a quorum this last month when we met, and Trevor and Zach were kind enough to also come, kind of explain the whole chip seal idea after we bought the tar truck and everything. So that was really good. Explaining how we're going to be chip sealing instead of paving for the most part, and so that kind of eliminated some of our discussion about certain things with grants that Marty had been looking at. We also assigned Marty as a chairman, and we're currently working on the snow policy and kind of looking more at arterial roads and different things, how we can assist public works. Oh, and I think I had Jamie, she was kind enough to send everybody the ordinance that was brought, so feel free to away at it and see what you guys think.
Okay. Questions for the road board? Okay, Travel and Tourism Board?
We met on July 16th, which, I don't know if I talked about this. The Rendezvous Market is starting, when?
So it's called,
I'm sorry.
the Ranch Market, and it's actually on Saturday, but it
This
starts
Saturday?
the 16th, yeah,
Awesome, so that'll be running through mid-October?
October 4th.
Okay. So we're excited to have that back. The Forest Service ambassadors have been up at Grover Park and have been spending time here too. Some of the Grover Park people are not super thrilled about having anybody up there telling them what to do, but they're working through it. They've had a bunch of fires put out. They've just been a benefit to the community as a whole, and I feel like our money was used appropriately from Travel and Tourism. The NRB and Travel and Tourism are gonna be looking at our birthday celebration. And we talked about the grant request already, and I guess we're also looking at some of the media kits. The state is putting a lot of travel and tourism out there, and we're trying to see if some of that travel and tourism money we can use some of that to put into these media kits. Frank is going to meet with Mr. King in the next few, but,
Is the media kit like banners and different, and billboards, or what?
yeah, it's just like brochures and stuff that
Oh.
really like Wyoming puts out there, and then we buy part of a page to say, come to Star Valley Ranch. You know, so it's
Yeah.
more like if somebody's looking at traveling to Wyoming, that might be one of their first places to look, and then
Oh, I see.
we get some advertising as far as that goes. Yeah, there's some challenge coins. Is that for the birthday? Remind me.
No, that was
that something else?
for the tourism board. They're looking at doing challenge points for each one of the towns.
Oh, that's right, with the state. There's just a lot of stuff between the state and the community, our community, that is a little gray area, so Frank's gonna go talk to Mr. King about all of it. Sorry, that was a lot.
Any comments or questions? Travel and tourism? Okay, water board,
I'm a good man.
they have,
I know,
next meeting is next week.
oh, is it? I don't know. I'll be there though. Yeah, I haven't gotten an email or anything, but usually they send out an agenda. Did they send it out? I haven't seen it.
Oh, I got it off the town calendar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't send the ordinance to.
19th at 2:30.
Have you seen an agenda for it yet? Okay. That's okay, I'll email Frank to add a couple things. But I'll present the ordinance to them and have them review it too, but I was kind of hoping to get a little feedback from you guys before I give them all of it, because it's a lot. So if it's cut down a little bit, by you guys wanting to take some stuff out, I'm good with that. And then I'll let them review it as well. The road board did help me a little bit on it, so I feel like they should definitely have some input as well.
Yeah, the water board, Frank decided not to go ahead with the water board. Since we failed to reappoint 2 members of the board, we wouldn't have had a quorum, which is why he's moved it to after tonight's meeting.
Oh, okay. Oh, so once we do the appointments, it'll be fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, is he not gonna be on the water board, is that what you meant?
So,
So
no.
you just meant he moved the actual time,
He
but
moved the date of the meeting because he wouldn't have had a quorum
I see.
because we're short 2 people who didn't get
right, okay,
reappointed.
got it. Okay.
Okay, any other questions for the water board? Anybody? Okay, the regular agenda items for tonight, basically the same stuff. Public comment period, adopt and consent, the consent agenda is approved minutes of July 8th, Community Board appointments, Frank Young and Boyd Sitaway, reappointed for 3-year terms. The disbursements, Special Municipal Officer Report and the Lincoln County Sheriff's Dispatch Report and the Municipal Judges Report. Under ordinances, we don't have any new or old ones, so we'll go through that one really quick. And then the resolution and motions on the travel and tourism grant application for the blessing box. Anything that anybody needs to see or change?
So the public comment area is for items not already addressed.
Correct.
So like if citizens were concerned about something, that's where they would speak,
Correct.
that are not already on the
Correct.
agenda. Okay,
But that
so,
will be limited to 3 minutes,
okay, yep.
okay?
I will, okay. I will make a comment here in a minute when we do our matters with the mayor and
Okay.
council.
Anything else on the agenda for tonight? Yes.
I'd just like to present 2 clarifications. On our 4-inch standpipe up there, is there a shut-off valve and a drain valve underground so that standpipe won't freeze?
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
it's
a
gotta be.
shut off out there.
Okay, and then second clarification is, here to date, that standpipe has spent every winter under about 10 or 12 feet of a snow berm from how they clear the cul-de-sac. Might it be possible to consider keeping that little area cleaned out?
Sure, I'll make a note and I'll talk to Public Works guys, the valve point there. So,
Thank you.
we tend to shovel out the fire hydrants, but not the blow-off valves, so.
Well, that one would be important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the
I
only,
would agree.
that would be the exception, yeah. Okay.
Jamie has one of the plans for Vista Park. Up. This was done, what, 8 years ago, something like that?
2018, I think.
Yep. So that was one of the ones that was proposed. Okay. Nothing dealing with on the agenda. Okay, matters from the council and mayor. Wade, you said you had a,
Yeah, I have 2 that I'd like to bring up, just because I've had various conversations with people, but I've also seen a couple of emails fly back and forth that we've had this last couple of weeks, so I did a little homework. One is the Cottonwood cabin that we've all talked about before. It is in non-conformance with our current ordinance, and the reason for that is that it's not a modular home. We all agree with that, and it's not made from new material. So basically, by those 2 aspects, it should have never been approved, but it was. We all get it. So, and because of the complaints and everything, it's not a matter of we're not gonna go over and move it out. It's there. But how do we prevent that from happening again?
So, just to let you know, this was something our building official drug his feet on trying to find a way to not approve. The HOA approved it probably 6 weeks before we did.
Yes.
But he had an engineer come in and go through the entire plans and say, what am I missing here? How can we keep it off? And basically the engineer said, you can't. This meets every one of your codes. And I ran this through our attorney, because the sentence that we have there says it has to be from new material.
New material that's less than 12 months old.
Well, the next part of that, there's another sentence there that says, you can use
recycled materials can be used for aesthetic
aesthetics.
purposes.
For aesthetics, not structural.
Well, so this is where it gets interesting, okay? So a log home on the inside and on the outside, the logs are the aesthetic portion of the home. So our legal counsel feels that that is recycled material, and he had a bunch of information on why that's applicable to a log home. So there are other log homes here that were recycled and put here on the ranch, but that is, we feel that we are within our code on that.
Okay. So to make it clearer in the future, could we ask for a variance in those cases where it's not clearly new, but it's a gray area. I hate to use the word gray because that opens up a whole bunch of different issues. But when it's not clearly modular and it's not clearly brand new, could we have something that helps us say, here's why we approved it?
We could, and the issue we have with a variance, the current variance we have is not great for us. It says there can't be any fault of the homeowners. It's a circumstance they can't control, but I know Jamie has come up with a new form here on the variance because we're trying to make it more clear.
Yes.
And her form was great, I thought, but we'll finish that up.
Because if this happens again, we want to be prepared for it instead of going through this cycle, right?
Yeah, yep. Remember, one of the items on the planning commission meeting for tomorrow is a variance piece, because the existing variance ordinance, having gotten a variance, is 99% related to the topographic of the lot that your house is on.
Okay.
Nothing else. So that was an area that was over on the,
So try to not, I guess, tighten that up.
yeah.
Or make it more specific.
Well, we are working on that, and Jamie's form was pretty good, so we'll get that out there for people to look at and comment on or whatever, so.
Okay. All right, because I know that there's been a lot of
Yeah.
traffic going on with that conversation. The second one is that I had a tear-filled call with a resident, a mom who had a very aggressive altercation with an older gentleman, a resident on the over by the pool park area. And she had her kids, they were over there, they have a small little motorbike, and the kids were in the wrong, but it was the way it was handled. And again, I don't know if we could take this back to the homeowners association, but there's no signage over there that says you can't ride a bike or anything else on those cart paths. So the kids, they didn't see anything, they didn't know, and actually, so is there any way we can educate or at least put up a sign, no motorized other than golf carts on the golf course? I don't know.
There's a sign on 17, or when
Okay.
you go from 18, right where a couple of VRBOs are.
Can we do the same thing, bend down by the
So
park?
where was
By the park.
I mean, it's,
Number
I'm
9.
sorry, it should be common knowledge that you shouldn't be taking anything onto a golf course that's not a golf cart.
The kids don't know that. I
Was
mean,
it on the
that's,
grass,
lack of-
like by the pavilion, was it on the grass around the pavilion?
I don't know specifically,
Okay.
but it was one of those things
That's
where
what
she
it's-
filed a report against the individual because he had this
Okay.
and came pretty aggressive, and Nick, the pro, he got involved, so he was aware of it. I'm just saying, is there something we can do? Again, it's a tough situation to be in. You don't want kids, you don't want them turning it into a, motocross park. We get that, but I don't know. It would have avoided the whole situation most likely.
I would think the HOA has to post it, because isn't all of that their land?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's not
Yeah.
our issue, but it was a town resident that
Oh, for
brought it up, and I'm going, we don't live in a retirement community, we live in a family community. And, anyways, she was, distraught to say the least, and I just said, I'll bring it up with the council and just, if there's something that we can do to help,
Yeah, we're
that'd be great.
meeting, Trevor and I are meeting, I think, as far as I know, still Friday with some of the HOA members, just to get on the same page with different things. And
But
this
if they
is,
had the same kind of signage, like you say, up on, that.
and it's just down here by the pool.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of, because of the playground and the pool
Yeah.
and everything, might be a better place than on 17, where there's not a lot of traffic, but, anyway, that was the other comment. I just told her I'd bring it up and see, if we could have that conversation.
Maybe we can lead into putting like some motocross thing out on the air.
Yeah,
I mean, they
that's
kind of have
something.
already, so
I-
just a place at least, 'cause I think I did.
Well, the
see
kids
it.
just don't have a place to.
Exactly, and I
Because
did
they've turned
see
our
it.
parking lot on here into a ramp, jumping off the upper level down to the lower
Yeah.
level, and I would've done that as a kid too.
Yeah.
They just don't have a place to go, so, anyway, that's all I had.
Okay, other issues?
So I've heard from a couple of people, on the short-term rentals. We did put into our, ordinance about them posting a 12 by 24 little inch card on the property. Unfortunately, I don't think it's working out the way we assumed it would. I think the idea was then if somebody had a complaint, they could reach out to the, agent or property manager or whatever, that's name and number was on the card, but then the person has to go up to the property because the card isn't big enough from like the road. So I didn't know if at some point, because I've also had some questions, is this a short-term rental or is it just somebody who has 10 visitors over type thing for an afternoon? I didn't know if we could actually post the addresses and the phone numbers of the person to be in contact with. I feel like if it's anything major, people are calling the police, but I think having the short-term rentals just post a little thing is probably not the safest, because then they're having to walk onto somebody's property to get the information.
Okay, I see where you're going. We do require them to have the contact name and number there, but I see what you're talking about. It's up on the porch, not,
Yeah,
Right.
and so I just didn't know if we should, I've just gotten enough notifications, and I think because our new, SMO is actually trying to enforce some of this, I just feel like it might be kind of causing an unsafe situation if people that are like, hey, can you just keep it down, are having to walk all of the way onto somebody's property for that. So anyway, I was just hoping that we might be able to, I don't know if we can put it on the website, like the address and then the contact, or at least an address.
Here's an off-the-wall question for you. Is it possible legally for us to put a list up on the website of all the short-term rentals and the contact person?
So I believe we can do that. The question I have is names, addresses, plats, and lots are public record, but phone numbers are not. So if we don't have something that requires it, that's the,
Yeah, but the ordinance requires them to have a contact that you can get hold of, and they must respond within 2 hours or whatever.
yeah, so I'll need to ask about the website.
Yeah, check that one.
Just to see if you can punch that.
Yeah, because it's at the house and that qualifies, so that's the one thing that is a slight concern to me at the moment, but we did recently print off signs and went through all of them and notified those who didn't have their signs up, and including ones on the golf course saying you need to put, this is private property, so. Put out a bunch of signs and asked everybody to come up into compliance, and if that doesn't happen, we had a great response from most people, but I'll look into the phone number on the website. I think we can do it, I just wanna make sure that I'm not wrong, and
But even having a list for a neighbor to be like, okay, that is a VRBO, then we can call the town and say, hey, this has been a problem,
sure.
even if we don't have their phone number, but then at least it puts them in contact so that
We
If
can
my
at least
neighbor-
do that.
we can at
Question
least
is,
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get calls all the time, hey, last night there was a party, and we contacted them, so.
Okay.
But let me see what I can do on the website, probably could do it, I think, so.
Even if it's just the addresses, because we have a few places around us that I noticed are sold or didn't sell, and now I'm wondering if they've become like Airbnbs. And so if there was a list, people can double check that even, so even just a list of like the addresses.
And we're still doing, like she said, properties are selling. There's somebody still keeping an eye on, I can't remember the company name that we used.
Granicus?
Yeah, are we
Oh,
still
do you
using
still
them
have
to
them?
like cross-reference?
No, we're not continuing with Granicus.
Okay, is there something else or just our own staff's due diligence?
You have some comments on how that's.
So Granicus was pretty much, they were super hard, difficult. We'd send them an email to them, wouldn't hear back from them for weeks. And so we were doing all the stuff they were supposed to be doing for us. And it came down to, you pretty much go on to, most of them were on Airbnb or VRBO. And so it was quite a hefty contract. So what we were doing was pretty much all the work, so we're gonna just kind of keep looking
Mhm.
and making sure if they're being advertised on VRBO or Airbnb and they're
Mhm.
not, don't have an application with us, then of course we send that SMO over and.
Check in, gotcha.
But that's kind of what we're doing right now,
Lucky you.
as we look for maybe an alternative, but.
Yeah,
And due to the delay with Granicus, I think we cited a couple of people that were actually in compliance, but Granicus was so slow getting the information that
yeah.
we thought they were still posted and they weren't, so we had some real concerns there.
Well, we have enough people that are in the community that are looking out for each other that I'm sure if we miss something, we'll know quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting, if you go on the internet and you type in Star Valley Ranch in Wyoming, your top 3 lists are rentals. It's crazy.
They're paying money for that.
Yep, they are. Okay, anything else?
Oh, again, the ranch market starts this Saturday, so
Okay.
love to see everybody there for all the
And what
produce.
are the times?
8 to 11.
And that's gonna be every week, 8 to 11, or every
Until
time?
October 4th,
Yes.
yeah. And if it gets really cold, we might move it to like 9 to noon,
Okay.
so, but we'll do a newsletter posting or something.
Okay.
A question for a statement that you made during the comment about the log home. I thought I heard you say that other log homes were moved onto the ranch earlier. Is that what I thought I heard you say?
I believe there's a couple out there.
Okay,
but
can we have those addresses?
I don't have one.
I'll give you one right off the bat.
Because the reasons why, the town is only so many years old, and I sat on the architectural committee and involved in a lot of things. And all the records from 1982, the majority of the records from 1982 forward to 1970 were destroyed. They weren't there. And I have the majority of the records coming forward, and as far as I know, there have been no log homes physically moved onto the ranch. They've all been new construction, as far as I know. So unless you can come up with addresses and pull this data, because you're gonna have to pull it from the association, not from your files, because you don't go back that far. So, and I'm questioning whether, whoever supplied that information to you, that's why I'm saying I'd really like to know the addresses, because that is relevant to what we're discussing here about this log home, because we're basing it on your statement saying that it's been done before, and I'm asking for proof of that being done before because of what I just told you. I'm not aware of any log house ever being moved on here because the DCCRs before the town here it is. Sorry, I wasn't ready for this. In the DCCR's Article 8, Use Restrictions, Section 9, Paragraph 8, I won't read the whole thing, I'll just read what's pertinent. It says, and it's been this way in all the DCCRs since 1970, no old or secondary hand structures shall be moved onto any said lots. Period. I mean, that's very simple wording there. And then at the bottom it says, it shall be new construction of good quality workmanship and materials. Now that's been in the DCCR since 1970 and has been, and I know that some of the things in the DCCRs, you'll find different verbiage between them. This statement exists in all of them as I've just read it to you. So, your certification of compliance that you get from the town, I know you're not supposed to enforce the DCCRs, but you're also not supposed to, enforce the DCCRs, I understand that, but you're not supposed to cause any conflicts because the DCCRs are here first. And it is clearly, that conformancy letter you got is clearly inaccurate and is wrong. And so, the DCCRs clearly say that log cabin should not be moved on any lot in the association, period. So your letter that you got
misleading you that it was in conformance, because I got a copy of it right here, and it says that. So that's the other issue here.
I think the issue is that it could be for our ordinances proper, but not taking into account the DCCNRs is not appropriate either. You have to take those into account because they are governing what we do here
Correct.
in the town.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware as well, that's your issue, that's really your issue, right, Bob? And that's what we need to make sure is clear.
The intent, I was on the committee that helped write that, what the ordinance that we're talking about. And the intent behind that law was that there be only new construction done on this, in this town. That's the intent of the law, and that does matter. And in that thing that you're citing about about the exterior siding, that was basically siding. That was if someone built a new house and they wanted to put like a rustic metal on it or something like that that was used, or bring old barn wood in, you know, and make it look really rustic and nice. That was the intent behind that.
Yeah.
The intent behind it also was that no structure, that's why we wrote the 12 months in there for modular homes, that the 12 months, that was considered beyond that hold, okay? That no structure be moved on here that was used, that the structural materials not be new, okay? And I think that using that log home as the logs being aesthetic, that is a skirt around the intent of the law that was written, okay? This was clearly a mistake. It's unfortunate that it was a mistake, but it still doesn't change it that it was against, it's against the association clearly in the DCCRs. You guys got an erroneous, misleading document in your check process from the association, and the intent behind the original ordinances is clear. This should have never been done and never allowed, and we feel that this log home should be removed from it. And it is a mistake. You know.
Yeah.
May I ask, is
But
that your intention, is for us to remove the home? Is that what you're asking us to do? Because we're getting all these emails of what went wrong, and Trevor has given you, and our town administrator has given you, Scott made this, it wasn't an easy situation for him. So this isn't like, this is happening every single day. So is your intention for us to draw the line and make our ordinances and the DCCNRs in line going forward?
Yes.
Or is your intention for us to try to remove a log cabin that has been placed on the ranch? I'm seeing yes, that's your intention.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think the town council has any right to diminish the value of my property or the reputation of the town. And that's what had been done.
Correct.
And it needs to be fixed. The only way to fix it, remove the cabin.
A mistake has been done though.
A mistake.
And there's no way we're gonna be able to remove that property. Now, it's there, it's even got a foundation around it now. So again, how do we stop it from ever happening again? Mistakes
First thing you
happen.
gotta do is remove this one. Third thing you gotta do is enforce the law. If you
Understand?
don't enforce the law, you have no law.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Define moving a log cabin onto the ranch.
Define moving. I seen it go down the street.
Yeah, I live in a log cabin that was put on this ranch in 2005, that was built in British Columbia and moved down.
Yes, now we had this discussion. Okay, you have a custom log home that's built out of custom logs, and it's not a kit. The log house is pre-assembled, the main structure is pre-assembled and built, okay? As soon as that main house, those logs are built, that structural material is moved. It is better to do that construction at the site, because the tools are there, and it's more cost effective to do it. And that's a custom house. And under the DC, under the laws, not the DC, so under the ordinances, it's the contractor has to follow the law, and all the materials he uses for construction are supposed to be new for structural material. He's to ensure that. So the responsibility for those unique custom homes like you have, that was probably built that way, that falls on the builder's responsibility to make sure that structural material is considered new at time of building. Okay?
It's my understanding the gentleman, is the project completed? Like, is he living there? He's got a
No.
C of O?
No.
It's my understanding that he is renovating to make it a nicer place than some of the houses that are already here.
What specifications has he given you and timeline?
I haven't talked,
That he
it's
will
my
do?
understanding that this
Yeah,
is,
it's a rule.
I've talked to the inspector several times about this, and we all care about our property values, and we don't want these things moving in, but I'm just trying to understand from like, right now till the finished product, are you unwilling to give him the time frame to make his house look nice that will also increase your property value? You don't think that's gonna happen?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay.
I talked to him, he bought the property for around $94,000 a lot. He paid $20,000 for the cabin and $100,000 to move it down. He says, I have no more money. So if he has no more money, how's he gonna improve it?
What's he building the foundation for?
That's part of the $100,000, said the damn thing on there.
In my conversations with him, he has indicated that he's gonna have the entire outside of the cabin sandblasted and then refinished.
Okay, and like Trevor said, the logs are aesthetic, not structural. Let's remove some, and see what happens. See if aesthetics or structural shows up.
Let's go back to your question, Madam Councilman. We turned in the first complaint first of all, whenever we first saw it, we talked to the building inspector. He showed us everything was more open, and we said, hey, well, I think what you're doing doesn't fit town law. So we went down, I looked, and I came back, and we had a nice conversation, and I showed him how bringing it as a modular home was inappropriate. It didn't fit. He immediately issued a stop order, okay? Then, it was shifted from a modular home to IEDC 2021, which is moving buildings, which is the correct code, okay? Then whenever we showed them that that didn't fit, no stop order was stopped. At that point, another stop order should have been done, and discussion like we're having right now should have taken place to make sure that we didn't go any further, to make sure, let's don't get too far down this road before we create a situation like we have today. That did not happen. So the checks and balances to prevent this from ever happening again are not in your code, and that having one person issue building permits without a P&Z board that bounce, or some form of a board that looks at this, you know, that's familiar with your town code, familiar with the building codes, and bounce it off and make sure mistakes like this are not made. You know, the checks and balances isn't there anymore. It used to be, but it's not there anymore. And I believe if we had the checks and balances that we had 10, 15 years ago, well, not that far, 5, 6 years ago in place today, this would have never happened. But because those things were shifted, we have this problem now.
So my recommendation is that we find a way so that this never happens again. Yeah, we can do some homework to make sure structurally, all those kind of things, but it's there, okay? So the question becomes now, how do we prevent it from ever happening again? Because again, we don't want to bring old cabins onto the ranch. All of us would agree with that. There's nobody that would disagree. We just have to make sure that the process is clean so that it doesn't happen.
To make it not happen, remove that cabin. Set the law. It's like a bank robber. You go in, And if you let the bank robber off, you're done.
I could cite thousands of things that were done inappropriately or incorrectly that you couldn't undo.
I know, you can undo it.
Well, are you gonna pay for it?
No,
Who is?
the town,
So you're gonna pay for it.
no, yeah, the town pays for
The
it.
town is
The town
you.
made a mistake, stand up for what you did wrong,
Okay.
make it right, and move on.
Yeah. And live with the lawsuit afterwards.
You're gonna get sued for me if you don't remove it. So what do you wanna do?
It's a no-win situation.
You can make it a win situation,
How?
stand up, take responsibility.
And still get sued.
No,
No,
you
still
can
get sued.
buy that piece of crap from him, demolish it, build something else, sell it off.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good financial solution.
Was literally better than what you're gonna spend on lawsuits.
That's unfortunate. We don't need
Yep.
those anymore.
Yep. That's the sad way to go.
Yeah.
Litigious society we live in. I just shake my head. Do you think I like living next door to a guy that's been building this house for 5 years?
Nope.
No. Have I put up with it? Yes, because I'm a good citizen and I'm a good resident.
Does he
That's
follow
what I
the
do.
law, yes or no?
Sure.
No, he's not.
He's not breaking the law, is that what you said?
Yeah, is he following the laws? Is he following the ordinance?
Yeah, he has to keep getting a new permit every,
Every 2 years.
year. So, yes. But do I like it? No.
I don't like it.
Well,
all I'm
okay, so
saying-
you don't have to like it either.
All I'm saying is follow the damn law, follow the oath you took when you took office, that's all I'm asking
Okay, I'll send you a bill.
for. Okay? Send me a bill.
Okay.
One of the things I think you could probably use to try and mitigate this is that line that says you can use recycled material.
Yep.
Quits, maybe you need to add something that says siding for exterior or something. Because the way it sits right now, it's wide open.
I would take recycled off completely at this point, and then if they want something, they can ask for a variance.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Why when you leave a window.
Well, that's
'Cause
where it fell apart, is that one sentence.
But if you have a process that says, here's the two choices, modular, new, and if it doesn't fall into that, then it always goes to the third category and you cover it through the board. I mean, that's the way you prevent it from ever happening. I'm more concerned with never letting it happen again because of the conversations I've had that says that would be the most useful process going forward instead of worrying about what's happened in the past. Let's fix it going forward. But I'm hearing that's not in agreement. That's fine.
Let that thing out.
That's fine. Okay.
Something that may help is, in the past, in other projects I've worked on, if you flow chart your process, your building, your permit process, so that people can come in and pictorially see how it works. That way, if you make a change, you can see how the change affects your process.
Yeah.
You know, looking at a big, thick book and trying to see how everything all fits together, it gets hard sometimes. I was in contracting.
But
and,
that's
we-
preventing it, that's not solving this
No,
problem.
well, I'm
That's where I'm
addressing
at.
your issue.
If
I'm
you're not
sorry.
willing to bend or to compromise and to look at a solution, I don't have the patience for that, sorry. That's
Broke
just
the
me.
law.
It doesn't matter.
It
Do you
does.
speed? I can guarantee you speed, sir.
What?
I know you speed. Okay? We all have broken the law. Don't say you haven't. I can probably look at your taxes too. I'm just saying, we all break the law at some point in time. Was it his intent to break the law? No, it wasn't.
How do you know?
Again, anyway, you get my point. I hope.
I don't agree with it.
Well, we don't have to agree, we just have to understand. That's the key all of us have to understand is how do we get along? How do we compromise? How do we work towards a solution that's not good for, it's not gonna be perfect for everybody, but it's gonna work for the betterment of the community.
Question, do we live in a republic or a democracy?
We live in both, sir.
We don't.
Yes, we do.
Constitutional republic, a
And
nation of
under
laws.
a democratic society,
A nation of laws,
both.
no.
Both. Sorry, we agree to disagree, okay? And that's what a democracy and a republic is all about.
Democracies never live.
Okay, well,
So, okay, you wanna find a solution, okay, you don't wanna move, you're not gonna move the building. What, we talked about preventing this from ever happening again. What changes are you proposing and how do you propose to change your ordinances to make sure this?
I've identified that 3 times. This is my recommendation. I'm not the one that comes up with this. You say, here's the ordinance. It's either gonna be a new or a modular. If it doesn't fit that, then the building official would then take it to the board, who would then have a process that they would look at to say, does this require a variance? And not every variance is gonna be approved, right? But that's the review process that needs to be in place, that needs to be ironclad, just like it is with any other organization. And if you do that, how do you ever have a mistake reoccur? I've done internal controls for 35 years in corporations. I know how that works. You have people that still fail. So when they fail, then there needs to be a reprimand process, if you will. But again, they will fail, even if you try to put them all in place. This one failed. We are trying to fix it the best we can.
You're setting a precedent.
I'm just saying, again, this is a no-win situation. You tell me how you win both sides.
How
And I
would
would
you
love
like
to
when
hear.
some of a bitch of thing was sitting in your property, your neighborhood? Why don't we just move it up to your neighborhood?
I have probably way worse around my house.
Yeah, I don't think you've seen the rest of the ranch.
Yeah, I've been around.
Okay, then you know there's a lot of things that are bad. And they're original,
Yep.
so that's
But they
why,
followed the law, didn't
not a good situation. Anyway, I'm done.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
I want to thank you guys for the speed signs, the new speed signs that are out there. I love them. They have slowed down people on Cedar Creek somewhat, but my question is, are we going to have any more speed signs or more than one on each street? Can we have like 2 on Cedar Creek because it's long? It's long. It's so long it goes right up to the golf course. And they do slow down, but some people don't. And yeah, that's my question.
There are 2 on Cedar Creek. There's one at Hardin coming back.
Coming backwards?
Yeah, so
Okay, I haven't driven down that way, so I didn't know.
Yeah, we don't have a plan right now to put more out. They're pretty expensive.
I know.
Don't have anything in the budget that we're planning to buy. this
Cheaper
year.
than a cop though, right? Cheaper than a policeman. And they do slow people down, really.
They do.
I think that was a surprise when I first saw the first one, right, as you turn. Is it movable?
They're movable, yeah.
Could you move that one down a little further instead of right by the turn?
No,
Because
we're not gonna move it. I get requests every day for those to be moved, and they can't possibly make everybody happy with them.
Oh, I know.
So,
We set them in the best places where we felt they would slow people down, but we don't have immediate plans to put more out, but we anticipate that in.
Does the town plan on taking another speed count or?
You mean a traffic
vehicle count,
flow?
not speed count, vehicle count on usage of the roads? There's been some time and there was a count and Cedar Creek had the highest count, then came Vista. And
We don't
so-
have a plan to do another traffic count.
Another traffic,
Not at the moment, there's not.
okay.
So, I'm saying we can't, we just don't have a plan right now, or the time frame,
Yeah.
I think, to do it.
It'd be advisable to do it in the spring or in September, so it's really kind of a lower count than it probably is for one for time. But thank you for the signs, thank you.
Have
That was a big deal.
The pieces of the road, like I'd avoid Cedar now because of all the,
Oh.
has that helped at all
Uh,
with speed? I just, some people just still flying through.
When they hit that one that doesn't have any, chip seal on it at 36 or whatever it is, and they just drive over that, water. And the town has filled it up with more gravel, which makes it more, but when they go down, you know, they don't even slow down for that.
Yeah.
You'd think that would slow them down because it's kind of, it not only is noisy, it raises a lot of dust. And even though it's only about 4 feet wide or whatever it is, but the town has to put the top back on it, and that's fine. But you know, as you go down Cedar Creek, it's like you said, it goes like this. And those are where all the water lines were gone across the road. And
Yeah.
they've stopped a little bit, but people just don't, I walk down in the morning down here to the town. I live quite a ways down. And, I mean, I pick up a newspaper. But anyway, and we walk the way you're supposed to walk against the traffic, so you know who's coming at you. People aren't real courteous. And when I say that, this is like 8 o'clock in the morning. And they'll come right at you. And not everybody, but a lot of them aren't. And this morning, there was a couple of cars that, you know, we actually had to get way off the road. And when they speed by you, it's not because they're driving slow, it's like they're irritated that you're even on the little edge walking, you know, on the pavement. And so there aren't a lot of courteous drivers in the morning. I don't know if they're just aggravated or what. But,
Which road were you talking about?
Cedar Creek Drive, the big one on here, first turn, where everybody turns, yeah. But I thought I might write a letter about courteous speed, you know, and maybe you could print it in the newsletter. But then I thought, no, Sandy, you write too many letters.
Sandy, you know how I solve that problem?
How?
Because I'm a runner. I run throughout the ranch all the time.
Yeah.
I wave to the, I run against traffic, so I wave to the driver
we wave.
because then that acknowledges that they're gonna wave back and see me, so they don't kill me,
You know,
right? And they're conscientious that I'm there, but I wave, and that wave, it's amazing.
we do.
90% wave back.
Yes,
And
they
it's,
do.
and they'll usually slow down at
The
that point in
ladies are the
time.
unwaivers, you guys. They don't wave much.
The ladies, I waved to everybody.
The guys.
I waved to everybody.
No, they-
One finger.
Off the steering wheel, yeah, I've seen that, but at least they've acknowledged that you're there.
Well, I just wanted to thank you guys for the speed signs because it's helped. It's helped. And I think it's made people more conscious of how fast they are going when they approach that sign. They reach 25 pretty quick. You can reach 25 pretty quick there. So, thank you.
Trevor, as we're making moves to chip seal like other roads, especially the arterial ones first, can we look at adding pathways like we are on Vista?
Yeah, depending on the
Well,
width
of
of the
course.
easement.
With the road.
Yeah, but if there would be a
I think it'd be
possibility.
fantastic.
Because even if they re-chip seal Cedar at some point, whenever it's due, can they, at that time, if there's enough room that allows, can they add a pathway? Or does it have to be something that's done all at once?
You can always do something after the fact, it just depends on what type of pathway. We have to be careful on, a pedestrian pathway has different restrictions than a bike path or whatever, so.
Yeah, I understand.
You had a comment?
Yes, I've been listening here considerably to the discussion back and forth of what to do with the problem of the town and different agencies working together. Mr. Bitter, I visited your office, check out your region. I think what your office needs, and perhaps the city as a whole, you don't want to have, we need to do something perhaps that the Catholic Church has been doing for a long time. I'm not a Catholic, I'm just a Catholic. table this story. You need a devil's advocate. The town needs a devil's advocate. All the paperwork comes through the office of the devil's advocate to find a way to say no deliberately to everything and say, oh, this is wrong and here is why. This is wrong and here is why, and keeps everybody out of trouble. This problem would not have happened had there been a devil's advocate. Now, you can give it some other label that might be more functional, more easy to go with, but the process is not that expensive or difficult. It's just somebody that's his job, to stop everything and keep you from sinking the ship. That's all, that's just my piece to hold.
Okay, anything else on these issues? Because I have one more that we probably ought to think about. Driveways. Our ordinance says that your access to the road that's going down can be no more than 24 feet wide. So that's off the easement. We don't have the darn thing in our ordinances that say what happens after the 30 feet from the road, on the easement side. So you can get some individuals that have got an extra wide driveway added on that stops at the easement and then drives back and forth across the dirt to get on the driveway. We may want to think about something down the road on that. Okay, anything else? Okay, could I have a motion then to recess until tonight?
I move for recess till tonight.
Okay, is there a second?
7 p.m.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.